That's me. That box is down. I don't have any, you have not said to me and said, hey, these are my concerns. These are my concerns. Can't meet me every week, but I can meet you. And so part of it is just grace that we're given.
Grace.
So we're back. We have a question. I just want to share something. We had a citizen who was here at the morning's meeting, and he has come and shared his thoughts at a lot of different meetings. I shouldn't say his name, but we had a conversation on if he had the knowledge or information. I asked him, well, sir, have you provided this to me in writing? Let me see what we can do. If you have a concern about a street, about this, give us the opportunity to resolve it. Maybe we didn't see it. So if everybody gives each other grace as far as like we know we have some former council members who have a lot of information. We have a former mayor in here, so people are concerned. But there's a way to handle somebody. When we get bogged down with open records requests, you know how much that costs the city? So, I'm glad you asked. I'm preparing an analysis that will come April 1, you'll be able to see who requests, what they requested, how much time it cost us, and what we charge. Because I think there's a misconception of like, oh, we only charge 10 cents for copies, but that may have took 2 hours of being able to answer the phones when y'all are calling, to be able to work through technology issues that we're trying to do, the new website that will be coming, that will be getting started, right? That takes away from the people versus just saying, hey, I want this information. You have to do it in an open records request, but I don't know who is going through that much information like it's a full-time job. It's a full-time job for us getting it. And so how do we build up a better situation? We're looking to use technology. So our open records requests you're going to be able to do it electronically, no more paper. And so we're going to have systems where we're going to give you the information. We don't have nothing to hide. Remember, transparency. But I think what we're going to show in this analysis is that where some people don't understand that every time we involve our attorney and it goes to the paralegal and it goes to another set of eyes, that this 50 you only paid, what is it, $10? Oh, it's 10 cents, but I'm saying whatever you got, where it took us a long time and you paid $60 for, actually cost us $550 because to go to the attorney, the amount of times they had to touch it, to do the redactions. Well, we do the redactions, but to send it to the governor, right? These are real dollars, real time. So again, I will get off my soapbox, but I want, since we're talking about saving money, it takes time and effort to do these things, especially with limited new staff. It's important that we give each other grace. Mayor Pierce.
I had a question. You actually, about Thursday, you were talking about, basically the audit of the trash receptacles and, that piece of it. But in 2023, shortly after the city manager left and we had really nobody, leading it, the water system took a huge hit. And I sat at that podium and talked about misappropriation of funds and the potential of theft, people's payments not getting posted where they needed to go. So I had a question, and actually people's water was turned off erroneously. These people were charged reconnection fees. We didn't even do turnoffs forever.
That's correct.
Which had nothing to do with that issue, but all of these individuals who may have really legitimately supposed to have had their water cut off didn't. Reconnection fees weren't paid. So I have a question, is there plans to actually audit that water system? Sorry, not the water system itself, I know the infrastructure, but since that's its own fund, is there a plan in place to also get a forensically audit the water office from that time period, 2023 on? Because I would imagine that some people aren't paying water, some people who paid extra for water hasn't been rectified, so these individuals are out money that they should be returned to them, or if we have businesses not paying water at all.
Yep.
So I'm just curious if we're going to go that route as well, and I understand that it costs money, but I'm wondering if the cost of, finding money that we've lost outweighs the cost of actually investigating that.
Yes, ma'am. So I'm glad you brought that point up. In the brief analysis that I've done in the month that I've been here, we need an audit to be done both on utilities and in municipal court. The question is, how much money do we take to go through that process? And I'm still trying to get that information. So what I've been doing is I've gone back from 2023 to forward. We're identifying who were in those positions and how long they're in those positions for municipal court, for utilities, city manager, city secretary, because that's important. What we'll see, I know the mayor doesn't like to hear this. I think it is 9 interim acting city managers since Monique has left, 5 acting city secretaries or interim acting and or city secretary since Patty left. And so what we're doing is putting together a schematic of like these time frames. And then what was done, I'm also including in there shutoffs for 2023 that successfully happened. We had they didn't happen. And when I brought it to city council, when I shared information, there was, some things done, and I know it was no longer here. But 2024, you want to know how many cutoffs there were? I think 1. And so the analysis is going to show this. Who can tell me how many cutoffs we had for 2025? We had 2, January and February, which means the efficiency of and stability of having the utility clerks working with the new team that we have is working. If you all would just continue to support us, that they get training from basic to intermediate to then move to advanced, it's working. But the same thing, I know we're talking about utilities, but the same thing resides in municipal court. When you all see the numbers of municipal court, y'all think water, trash, and sewer gonna be bad. There is over right now. I can give this a true assessment and stand up in front of anybody and say that there's about $500,000 due to the city of Kirby in reference to trash and just municipal court, just those two things. But we gotta want to do something. I said $500,000.
So is that money that so we're not paying enough on our trash, so that's part of it?
That's part of it. That's 100. So trash is, let's say, 150,000.
So what she was saying about, cut offs.
Well, yeah. If we included water and sewer, we over $500,000. We're at about 700,000. If you add in what she's talking about.
So it's not all just people not paying enough on their trash bill, though. How do you keep or get that other money?
Okay, so trash for commercial and residential trash, we just gonna say 150,000. But we know with the math, 128 plus 30, we at least at almost 160. But we'll just keep it at 150 because I don't want anyone to say that I gave false numbers. We'll do 150.
See, to me, that one's easy.
That's easy.
Right, because people are going to drive.
Yep.
Bills,
Yep.
Get that money up and at least
So 150 is just trash. That's just to break even. That's not even $1 more. That's just to break even. So then we have municipal court. I ain't even went into that, but municipal court, let's say 450,000. We've only received 29% of that. And the more time, municipal court is citations, tickets, courts, warrants, right? So we had, when we were having conversations and we had, again, it's twofold because there is how the city looks at municipal court. How did we prioritize that? Other cities have staff of 2, 3, 4 people. They have court once a week. Every other week, we have court once a month. So we had it one person. And then we have a half a person who's a supervisor using that model. But that was only when you had someone who's been consistent and who was here for at least 8 years. You then had that knowledge to be able to not miss a beat. So when we have court and everybody comes on that court date because no one comes to pay before, that means all we're doing is continue to reset. Now, we had staff who was not trained, who, without giving all our business, right? But it's important to understand the difference.
It's our business too, so go right ahead.
There was a law that was changed, and I don't know the name, that happened where you have to give. So say that someone comes to court and they get a first. So they come to court, they do something, they get a second notice. They get a notice, right? Like, hey, you got to appear in court. You get a letter sent to your house. After that notice, we're required to give a second 30 day? Second 30-day notice before we can attach a warrant to it. So that means all our tickets and citation that's been floating around for 2 years, we have not fulfilled the process. So we've only done half of it. I'll just say that. Meaning it's a full process. Let's say it's 5 steps and we've only did 3. 1, 2, 3. For us to get our money, we have to close the process, which means do step 4 and 5. We have not been doing that since 2023. Well, 2023, excuse me. 2023. So that's almost 2 years. So when we talk about, we as a community got to separate nice people from people who are working and know what they're doing. Someone making you feel good is important. Making you smile, joking with you, being cordial is important. But again, we can go in on, I've heard about the $1 million mistake. I have not even, again, 100 fires going on in 1 month, been able to look under the hood to see where things are at with just that. But what I'm sharing with you is we're working diligently. Fruit is trash. Then we're going to share water and sewer. The current leadership of city council and the mayor have been supportive. They make me dance a little bit like they did on Thursday night. We spent 35 minutes on $5,000 and maybe 10 minutes on $150,000. So, but we're here to answer any questions that you have because it's important. But when we prioritize doing what's right, we're bringing to you the facts. And then we have to figure out how to move forward. So disconnections have been happening on residential. And so part of it is like, okay, now we're in step. We have a team that is now doing the things that needed to be done. And so we're just asking you all to give us grace as we get new people in, get them trained up, and start to be in unison to provide y'all the service that you deserve. You all know about the bulk trash pickup that's coming in March, and the hazardous waste that's coming in March. We have flyers. It's on our website. It's on our Instagram. It's on our Facebook. So we don't want people to say that they didn't know. We're also going to put it. It's I think it's supposed to go out in the bill, that water bill that went out. But on the flip side, people who don't get their stuff in bulk trash pickup, we're not going to be lenient on code of compliance. We've told you in advance, helped by, but so people who have bulk trash pickup, that's when we also have to then compliance to be able to start going out there and doing some work. Keep the city maintained. Yes, ma'am. And then in the green.
So I have a question as well, like the continuity plan. So if this is all started and you're an interim and in 3 months you're no longer here, if that's the case or what have you, and someone else takes that position, then what is the city's plan for continuity that we don't start all over? Because we have literally been stagnant since 2023, not even moved our needle.
Yes, ma'am.
We are literally playing catch up from 2 years ago. And so nothing's being done because we are literally talking about the same thing right now that we talked about in 2023, shortly after our city manager left.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm just curious what council's plan is, because if you're not here, you obviously can't institute that. So I'm just wondering what the plan is for council or for staff for that matter.
Yeah. So what I plan to do, my contract is only 90 days. The goal is to get these things started and to be able to have a plan. So the next person who is here can pick that up and move forward. But one of the issues that has been the issue since 2023 is council and citizens holding that person accountable to make these things a priority, to make sure they're happening. Because again, it's not the first time. So it has to be, what is the strategy? So that's why we're having a town hall meeting, right? So this wasn't done with just staff. This wasn't just done with city council. So the world knows that the plan for the city of Kirby is to work on trash, to work on municipal court, to work on an audit on utilities, to work through those things, not to place blame, but just for us to then be able to see how we have a clean slate moving forward. And so that's something, a baseline of what I'll be able to provide on my way out. But how you move that once I am no longer here is we have 3 members of our leadership here listening, but it's also going to take city council. It's going to take the citizens holding them accountable, but also supporting them to get the results that you want. So that's a great question.
So is there gonna be a benchmark as y'all complete?
Yes, ma'am.
You know, like a goal, like
Yes,
you
ma'am.
completed a goal, is spread out and said, okay, this, we check this off, this is where we're at.
Yes, ma'am. We plan to do that on the staff side, and we plan to let the community know that as we're going through that. Obviously, those things have to come through city council, but we'll all be taking those steps together and completing them together. But at the end of the day, whoever takes this seat, you need to make sure that we get somebody who's experienced in this, right? Because we then take a step backwards if we just get somebody who's just, doing the best they can. There's a difference. So anybody, oh, you had a question.
I did.
You forgot it? Does any, so hopefully in this conversation, it has been edifying. We've tried to not hide anything about Public Works. We've tried to let you look under the hood to see, but we're trying to rebuild the motor. And so hopefully you all will walk with us during this journey. For those of you who have information that would be helpful, send it to us, give it to us, write it down, so we can then work through our process. I thought it was important that just this week, our team in Public Works got certified on the bulldozer. That's a step in the right direction. Then we have other trainings that they're going to be going to, of like, what additional licenses are they getting? What additional tools are they getting? Because the more educated and trained they are, the better they'll be for us here in the community. So, and then it just comes about prioritization. Yes, ma'am.
How are you prioritizing to make the monies back that the city needs? I understand the trash is a
Mhm.
easy, quick win. I get that. People are gonna gripe about that because it's
Yes.
down in pocket. You know how we all are.
Yes,
We're the
ma'am.
same, I'm sure. But that's probably the quick win.
Uh-huh.
But you talk about municipal court being like, $450,000 or something like that. That seems like a really big revenue thing for the city. So how is that gonna be prioritized to be like, let's get that done, because it seems important.
So one of the priorities is what City Council approved on Thursday. That was taking the municipal court clerk, which is a baseline position, and going from, I think the numbers was $17 to $22 is the range. But City Council approved an additional $6,000, which allows us to get it for an experienced person to make $25 an hour. Now, I was sharing with the mayor, we're not gonna be able to recoup all our money with a person who is learning municipal court. We're gonna need to, and that's coming back to council once we have a plan, to say, if we bring in someone who's at least a level 2, that allows us to have additional court dates outside of our one court date, but then it all allows us to be able to recoup that, go after the money that's out there. Remember, those numbers was 2023, 24. There's a time limit to when those monies we can't recoup those money. And just also to share with you, just so there's not the city does not receive all that money. The state does. So we get a portion. So I don't want anyone thinking that the city of Kirby is going to get all 400,000. We get a percentage, right? So the state receives, when you get a citation, a portion goes to the state, a portion stays in the city. Now, the money we do get to keep is a second part of the process that we have not been doing, and that is the warrants. Right now, I don't know. Can I get that information? I think it's public information. We have 4 warrants for 2023, 2024. And so when we look at the loss, right? So I'm talking about generating new money. I am simply saying, by not having qualified, trained people, we're losing money. So it's not about even new money. It is the loss of not having trained people just enough to take a payment. That's not enough. So part of that is getting the court clerk, which city council approved, and then we staffing them, but then also saying, well, what are we going to do to get another person to help get us to the level we need to be? And that's what will come back before city council. Again, shared governance is about how do you share this. One of the other things I think I put in before I left, I was told they don't do it anymore. When you do if you have it's a permit fee. So let's say you're a contractor and you do work. There was like $100 fee because we have to keep a file and record on you. I don't know, or they just stop charging that fee. Another fee, y'all may not like this, but it's there. We have between, we're gonna use a number from trash, 2,499 up to 4,000 homes. So let's say, 1,000 of those homes have alarms. How many people's alarms are registered with the city of Kirby? Every other city has an alarm permit.
I thought they had to be registered. I thought it was the law.
Yeah, they do. It is. How many? You want me to tell you how many people? I ain't gonna tell you that, but we have less than. Yeah, we have less than the number of people who've paid. Right.
You're talking about like if I had an alarm and it rang up the police people and they had to come. I thought that had to be registered and paid for.
Yes, and we're saying that
It's not.
only a few people in Kirby have their alarms registered with the city of Kirby.
Well, the answer to that is when those people call you that aren't registered to shit. I'm sorry, but that's what it is.
Well, that's the after part, but there's a beginning part. There is sending out a letter, letting people know that there's an ordinance, that if you have an alarm, you must register it. You must register it annually. If you have, I think it's 2 or more false alarms, then there's an additional fee, right? Because obviously if an alarm goes off, fire, police, goes out there. Is it 3 or 2?
It's free, sir.
3.
After 3, you have to pay for the permit.
Yep. So you pay the first initial permit, and I think ours is very low. I think it's $25. And that's low. It should be at least 100.
You only have to pay it one time.
One time a year. It's annual. It's not one time like lifetime, because police, so when we look at services and these things of like, this goes into the general fund. This is how we have more money to put in roads. This is how we have more money to hire people in public works or municipal court or wherever it is. This is how we have money to update our pool and all the other great things that we want to do. The great stuff. But all I can do is put before us of like the opportunities and then make sure that we have the staff in place to actually do that. And so staff has been definitely prepared and ready. They've heard me talk about this in the month that I've been here on how we're going to do this. But again, we are supposed to be having a leadership retreat-ish with city council for 3 hours. And we're going to be going through department by department, kind of getting an update on where we're at, opportunities for improvement, and then for them to share with staff kind of what they're hearing. We're all in this together. We're all in this together. And so, I like to applaud everybody who came out to share their thoughts, to share their comments, to share, what we're doing. I did ask the last group, and I would like to hear from you all, because it wasn't bad. What grade would you give was it streets or public works? Streets. What grade would you give streets in the city of Kirby? Based on everything you just heard?
We have some horrible streets that, this entire area has horrible streets.
Yeah.
I rate it based on seriously whether my car falls off in a hole and doesn't come back. If it doesn't fall off in a hole and I can just kind of go over it, it's bad, but it's livable.
I can say based on the fact that, one, the the water system here, the piping system cost us $150K because our house was flooded from the main line. And when we tried to recuperate the $7K that they fixed the main line at the joint, we were told, no, we couldn't get our money back. Then I deployed, come back to a house that we own and still see potholes at the potholes. And some potholes are huge and we're reporting the potholes and all that. And over the past 7 months, things have been actually really turning around, but that's not gonna keep me from still giving it an F until I see more movement. But from the moment I got here last year in January, came back, have I seen progress? Absolutely. But I'm holding down my F because it was $150K.
Yes, ma'am.
And that was a lot, seeing as that it came from the infrastructure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm sure that.
Anybody else? We got C's. After I told the whole story, we got some D's, and anybody else want to share or no? So are there any additional questions or streets that you want to put on our radar?
Not streets, but what are your expectations for us? Do we need to start asking more like a family, a group, a city? Do we need to plan once a month us helping with these potholes? Some of us are veterans, some of us still serving. What do we need to do to get this stuff fixed? Nobody's strange to doing some hard labor for their house, but if it takes for us to fix some of these potholes so that our vehicles are not getting trashed, let us know.
So I will share, no, we don't need citizens helping with potholes. But we do need citizens coming out to do a park cleanup, Friendship Park, and the other 2 parks that we have. I think it's important that if we can get citizens to help with that alleviate some of the staff during the day to being able to filling potholes. What we're planning to do is to come up with a maintenance schedule on things that we can fill. But again, how, we have buses, we have VIA buses, we have 18-wheelers, we have all these things that ride on our street. But
we have a big sign that says they're not supposed to come through.
we do. But does that mean that the sign says you're not supposed to go over 65? Does that mean that you don't?
Actually, maybe I don't.
You're coming down our street.
Yeah.
On Katy Lane over there.
Yeah.
Big truck. So funny that when they were down the road, they go down here and then they couldn't turn right on Ackerman, and these big, huge trucks were having to back all the way back up, and I was standing, I was just that. Because it was like, oh, it's your own fault, you should have read the sign.
Yes, ma'am. So we need people reporting those things to us. We also are going to be putting out what we're going to be doing as far as potholes. So in the report of the city manager, in the report that you all be getting at the meetings, I will be giving out this data and information. Hold us accountable. That is one of our core values. But hold us accountable to the things not of yesteryear, things of that we are now saying this is where we're at and this is where we're trying to go, and we need citizens' input to help us get there. But the goal is to be able to improve. So, what I'm trying to do is to figure out how do we get additional revenue to be able to do more potholes. But again,
I'm more on the water system.
water system's going to cost us some money. It's under 200, to get the additional water well we needed. It's going to be easily over $250,000.
I was just gonna say, you asked about additional roads.
Mhm.
This is getting roads, about main roads running through here, and it is horrible. And if it took $10 million just to do that little bit of Ackerman, you're talking about maybe a mile, what is it gonna take us to fix that?
Yeah. My goal in 90 days is to provide to you all several town hall meetings leading up to a proposal that you all will have on next steps for the next bond for 2026. These are things that you all are going to have to take collective thought, because it's going to cost money. and figure out how do we prioritize that. Then once we have it, how do we maintain it? And so that means some consistency in staff. That means coming and voicing your opinion to help support the leadership that's here. But again, my contract is for 90 days. And so, I told the people I'm the best man for the job, but, I can't walk on water. And so I don't have all the answers. But what I will say is I'm committed to working with everybody who wants to work with us. Yes, ma'am.
So I have another comment slash question. So the water in this area is very, it's important to everybody. We all know that. We all know that the aquifer has issues, blah, blah, blah. Every time we have a major leak in this town, the aquifer drops